Hello and welcome to Studio RC, an encouragement for your recovery and your faith. My name is Max and I am an alcoholic and I am a follower of Jesus. And we have a special episode of Studio RC this week where our faith and our recovery, they meet in this transformative way. And this week, we're going to launch this special Holy Week with something a little different, but deeply personal. I love, or I'll say loved in past tense, when my favorite TV show would go on a journey. They would leave their town or their set and they would go somewhere. That was always a special episode. Now, I'm going to date myself by saying I love when the Brady Bunch went to the Grand Canyon or when they went to Hawaii. It was super exciting. There are probably more series that are more modern that have done that and that are your favorite. But when they go on a trip, it's always exciting. And the beautiful thing is I recently had the opportunity to travel to Italy. And along the way, I visited some of the most iconic and spiritually rich sites in all of the Christian world. And it was beautiful. I visited Lake Como and the beauty that was. Even in the midst of the winter, it was still a beautiful location. I was able to have cooking lessons where we made tortelli, which look a lot like ravioli, in Parma. Yes, that where Parma cheese is from. And actually, they call it, if it's from Parma, it's Parma Romano. And it was so delicious. You would eat just a chunk. Never done that before. In Rome, I got to see the Colosseum and even did gladiator training with my family, which was a lot of fun. We went to a soccer match of Inter Milan, a Champions League match, a big deal game where we got to see just an incredible atmosphere of, as they call football, but we say soccer. It was just amazing. We walked and we ate and we ate some more and we ate some more. And what they say about Italian food is true. It's so good, and it's doesn't have a lot of the preservatives and things. So you eat it, you walk, you lose weight. It's crazy, but the food is so good. So in this episode, we're going to walk through the heart of Rome and Milan, not just through history, but through the lenses of Holy Week, our faith, and our recovery journeys. We're going to explore the towering legacy of the Roman Colosseum, once a place of spectacle and suffering, and now a symbol of endurance and transformation. And then we'll take in the beauty and the depth of the Vatican, where art, architecture, and devotion merge into something breathtaking. From there, we'll spend some extended time reflecting on Michelangelo's The Last Supper, as well as Montefano's The Crucifixion, two masterpieces in the same chapel that don't just capture moments from Jesus' final day, but they speak directly to the themes of love, sacrifice, brokenness, and hope, and that we see in both our faith and in our recovery. As we walk through these sacred spaces and works of art, we'll ask the deeper question, what do these places tell us about God's love? What do they reveal about Jesus' journey to the cross? And how does that impact our journey in recovery? So whether you're in early recovery, long-term sobriety, or simply hungry for spiritual depth this Holy Week, I invite you to come along. Let's open our hearts, embrace beauty, reflect on truth, and discover once again that redemption is not just possible, it is promised. This is Studio RC. Let's begin our journey. So as our journey began, and we flew out of Newark, New Jersey, and we flew all the way over to Milan, Italy, which allowed us to explore many parts of Italy. To begin this journey within our podcast, we head to one of the most iconic structures in all of Italy, the Roman Colosseum. Towering and ancient, it tells a story of entertainment, violence, but also unexpected redemption. Let's explore how this monument of the past invites us to reflect on our own stories of survival, and sacred transformation. As we stand in front of one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, the Roman Colosseum. This structure has stood for nearly 2,000 years, witnessing the rise and fall of empires, the spectacle of gladiator combat, and for us as believers, the resilience of faith, even in the face of persecution. Colosseum was built between 70 and 80 AD by the emperors Vespasian and Titus. It's the largest amphitheater of its time, capable of holding tens of thousands of spectators, anywhere from 50 to 80,000 people who came to witness brutal contests, gladiator battles, wild animal hunts, and dramatic reenactments of Roman military victories. But for Christians, the Colosseum carries a deeper meaning. Tradition holds that early believers were martyred here, refusing to renounce their faith or turn from their faith, even in the face of death. Now, whether or not executions actually took place in this exact arena, we're not sure, but we do know that the Roman Empire sought to silence Christianity through persecution. Yet instead of being extinguished, the faith grew stronger. Today, the Colosseum stands not just as a relic of Rome's past, but a symbol of perseverance. Every Good Friday, the Pope leads the Stations of the Cross here, remembering the suffering of Christ and the faithfulness of those who followed him. For those of us in recovery, this monument speaks to something even deeper. It reminds us that suffering doesn't have the final word. Transformation does. Just as this once bloody arena had become a place of sacred remembrance, our own past struggles can be redeemed by God's grace. What was once a site of destruction can become a testimony to endurance, faith, and new life. It sure sounds like a picture of recovery and what God has done in and through us in our recovery. So as we reflect on this ancient wonder, let's remember, no matter how great the struggle, no matter how deep the wounds, God's power of redemption is greater. The Colosseum, it still stands. And through faith, so can we. From the stone echoes of the Colosseum, we now go to the spiritual heart of Rome, the Vatican, surrounded by art, faith, and centuries of tradition. It's more than just a place. It's a pulse, a visual symphony of belief and beauty, and this bold declaration about who God is. Let's step into the square and reflect on the sacred atmosphere that continues to shape our understanding of worship, worth, and recovery. We're going to take a brief, but hopefully a fascinating look at one of the most iconic places in the world, the Vatican. Whether you visited or just seen pictures, the Vatican stands as a powerful symbol of faith, history, and artistic mastery. Has some of the greatest pieces of art known to man in the Vatican, in the various places throughout this incredible holy place. And the Vatican's history, it's deeply tied to the early Christian church. It's built on what is believed to be the burial site of St. Peter, hence St. Peter Square, one of Jesus' apostles. Now, over centuries, it's become the center of the Roman Catholic Church. It housing the Pope, serving as a place of worship, pilgrimage, and even governance. Now, in 1929, it became an independent city-state, making it the smallest country in the world, but arguably one of the most influential. The Vatican is home to some of the most stunning architecture in the world. St. Peter's Basilica, with its massive dome designed by Michelangelo, dominates the skyline, and it's the largest church in the world. Inside, every detail, from the intricate mosaics to the towering altars, draws the eyes upward, reminding us of the divine. The Sistine Chapel, smaller than you may think, but still stunning, is another highlight. Again, featuring Michelangelo's breathtaking ceiling frescoes, including the creation of Adam, one of the most famous images in all of history. Beyond that, the Vatican Museum houses a vast collection of art, religious relics, and ancient manuscripts that have shaped Christian heritage. Now, throughout the Vatican, religious art, it tells the story of faith. One of the most powerful sculptures is Michelangelo's Pietà, a masterpiece of sorrow and grace, depicting Mary cradling the body of Jesus. The Swiss Guard, in their colorful Renaissance-era uniforms, serve as a living symbol of the Vatican's long-standing traditions. Everywhere you look, biblical figures, saints, and angels remind visitors of the spiritual journey woven through history. As you approach St. Peter Square, you're greeted by a stunning array of statues that adorn the colonnade, standing high above the Grand Plaza. These 140 statues, sculpted by various artists in the 17th century, depict saints, apostles, and martyrs, those who died for their faith, each a powerful symbol of faith and perseverance. At the center of the square stands a towering Egyptian obelisk, a reminder of the church's endurance through all of time. The statues, combined with all the beautiful and sweeping columns, create this awe-inspiring welcome to the spiritual heart of the Roman Catholic Church. And as someone who is not Catholic, I was still overwhelmed by the incredible reverence and piety of this place, and the special nature in which they lifted Jesus, and just the masterpieces throughout the entire complex of how special our faith is and how it inspires such incredible art, and how it inspires people throughout the ages to just make these beautiful and creative things. The Vatican is more than just a place. It's a testament to the beauty of faith, the depth of history, as well as the power of artistic expression. Whether you see it in person or through pictures, through this podcast, regardless of how you get there, it invites us to reflect on the sacred and the timeless. Hopefully this quick visit to the Vatican has at least whet your appetite if you've ever hoped to go to Italy, and that you'll put that on the list of places that you'll visit and stop when you're in Italy. Leaving behind the grandeur of St. Peter's, we journey north to Milan, into a quieter room, yet one that holds a powerful moment. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. This is where Jesus sat with his closest friends, including the one who would betray him. A table of love, brokenness, and purpose. Let's sit at the table and consider what it means for us today, especially for those of us in recovery who know what it means to fail and to be invited back. As we walk through the halls of art and faith on this journey, few images capture the power of both art and the gospel, like Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. This painting is not just a masterpiece of the Renaissance, it's a profound reflection of Jesus' final meal with his disciples, a moment of divine love, human betrayal, and the institution of communion itself. The Last Supper, we're going to take a look at it from three different angles. First, as an artistic masterpiece. We're going to look at it second through its deep spiritual meaning, and finally, how this moment speaks to us in our journey of recovery. Leonardo da Vinci painted The Last Supper between 1495 and 1498 on the walls of the convent of Santa Maria delle Grazie in Milan. Unlike a traditional fresco where paint is applied to wet plaster, Leonardo experimented with a dry technique, layering tempera and oil onto a prepared wall. Unfortunately, this method made the painting highly susceptible to deterioration. Yet even in its faded state, The Last Supper remains one of the most recognizable works of art in the world. What makes this painting so unique? Well, first off, Da Vinci was a master of perspective. He designed the composition so that all lines in the room led directly to the face of Jesus, placing him at the exact center of the piece. And second, instead of portraying the disciples in stiff or formal postures, he captured a moment of just raw human emotion. The very instance Jesus declared, "One of you will betray me." And this is the image that was captured. Each disciple reacts in a different way, displaying shock, disbelief, and sorrow. You can almost hear the murmuring and whispering happening across the table. One other remarkable feature is Judas. In many traditional paintings, Judas is isolated or removed from the group. But here, Leonardo places him right among the others, blending in, yet still different. He clutches a small bag. Likely it symbolizes the silver he received for betraying Jesus. And his face is cast in shadow. It's a reminder that betrayal often comes from within our closest circle. Now, as we look at the spiritual meaning of the Last Supper isn't just an artistic marvel, which it is. It's a sacred moment of our faith. This is where Jesus gives his disciples, and ultimately all of us, a new covenant. He takes the bread and the wine, offering them as a symbol of his body and blood, telling his followers to do this in remembrance of me. It's this moment both of sorrow as well as promise. His impending sacrifice, but also this incredible grace that would come from it. It also reveals Jesus' deep love, even for those who would fail him. Judas the betrayer is at the table. Peter, who would soon deny him 3 times, is there. The other disciples who would scatter in fear all sit beside him. And yet Jesus still shares his meal with them. He washes their feet, stirs them, and offers himself fully, knowing their weaknesses, but loving them still. That's grace in action. So how does the Last Supper speak to us, of us in recovery? How does it show us lessons? First, it's a reminder that we are all invited to the table, not because we're perfect, but because we are loved. Like the disciples, we've all failed in some way. Addiction, broken relationships, regrets. We all carry something, and yet Jesus still welcomes us, offering us a new way forward. Second, this moment reminds us that transformation happens in surrender. The breaking of the bread and the pouring of the wine, it symbolizes Jesus giving himself fully in recovery. We too are called to surrender, to let go of our need for control, to admit our weakness, and to trust in something greater than ourselves. And as the big book of AA says, we trust an infinite God rather than our finite selves. Finally, the Last Supper is about communion. Not just with God, but with each other. Recovery isn't meant to be walked alone. The first word in the foreword to the first edition is we. The first word in the first step is we. We were. Throughout the language of the big book, it keeps talking about we, this collective group. Just as Jesus sat at a table with his disciples, we are called to find fellowship with others who walk this journey with us. The shared meal, it represents connection, vulnerability, healing. Three essential aspects, both of faith and recovery. Now, Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, it captures one of the most powerful moments in history. And I have to say, as I stood in front of it, I was in awe. It was breathtaking to be in this space and to see this beautiful piece of art. It captures this moment of history, one of love, of sacrifice, of redemption. But it's not just an image from the past. It's an invitation to receive grace, to surrender, and to walk in community with others. Whether you're on a faith journey, a recovery journey, both, know that the table is open. You are welcome. And you're not alone. Let's remember that the same Jesus who sat at the table with his disciples is the same Jesus who invites us today. Will you take a seat? Will you receive the grace offered to you by Jesus? Just across the same wall where the Last Supper is painted, another masterpiece awaits. Montalbano's The Crucifixion. Though less famous, its message is just as profound. In this scene, we see suffering at its peak. And I'll be honest, I spent so much time at the Last Supper. You only get 10 minutes in with the Last Supper that I almost missed this piece completely. And the truth is there are so many people and so many things going on in this incredible piece. I could have spent 2 or 3 sessions just on the crucifixion, let alone the observation of the Last Supper. And again, although it's less famous, that the message is just as profound. In the scene, we see suffering at its peak, Jesus on the cross, as well as love at its deepest. As we enter into Good Friday this week, we reflect on the cross, not only as a symbol of sacrifice, but as a mirror for our own healing and transformation. Giovanni Donato da Montalbano's fresco of the Crucifixion, located just opposite of the renowned classic The Last Supper, in the convent of Santa Maria del Grazie in Milan, it holds this significant artistic and spiritual value, particularly for us in recovery, as well as those in pastoral care. There's so much going on in this fresco. The fresco it's characterized by a dramatic and emotional portrayal of the crucifixion. Montalbano uses vibrant colors and dynamic figures to convey the gravity of the moment. The positioning of Christ on the cross, surrounded by mourners, reflects the deep sorrow and anguish of the event, drawing viewers into the emotional weight of the scene. The crucifixion is rich in symbolism. It represents sacrifice, redemption, the profound love of Christ for all of humanity. Each figure in the fresco contributes to the narrative, whether it's the Virgin Mary, John the Evangelist expressing his deep grief, symbolizing that just the human response to loss and suffering. And it's positioned directly across from the Last Supper is no accident. The fresco serves as this poignant reminder of the sacrifice that follows the Last Supper. The Last Supper was a celebration of communion, and this juxtaposition encapsulates the journey from the joy of fellowship to the pain of sacrifice. It emphasizes the Christian narrative of redemption. And as people on our recovery journey, we can see a lot of significance in this piece as well. Understanding suffering. The depiction of Christ's suffering, it resonates so deeply with us as individuals who grapple with addiction. It serves as a reminder that pain and the struggle, they're intrinsic to the human experience and condition. We recognize that Christ endured suffering, and that suffering can provide solace and strength for those facing their own battles. As we look at this, we also see hope and redemption. The crucifixion symbolizes the possibility of redemption and transformation. In addiction recovery, the journey often involves it's grappling with one's past, whether we do it in the 4th and the 5th or the 8th and the 9th, recognizing our need for change, embracing the hope of a new life. The fresco invites viewers to reflect on their own potential for renewal and healing. We see community and support. The figures surrounding Christ in this fresco represent the community and the support in times of crisis. In recovery, the importance of having a supportive network is paramount. The fellowship in action. The shared grief depicted in the fresco, it can remind individuals that you're not alone in this struggle, and the support is available through faith and community. And we have this spiritual reflection. For many, the crucifixion is a call to a spiritual reflection and growth. It encourages us as individuals to confront our own challenges, to seek a deeper connection with our faith, and can be a really powerful catalyst for our recovery. Montalfano, his crucifixion fresco, it's not just an artistic masterpiece. It really serves as a profound narrative of suffering, but it also is a narrative of hope as well as a narrative of redemption. For those of us involved in addiction recovery, it provides a powerful visual and spiritual tool that underscores the complexities of human experience and the potential for transformation through faith and community. From ancient arenas to sacred halls, from painted tables to painted crosses, this journey through Italy isn't just about history, it's about hope. And my hope is that you enjoyed this journey through Italy, that it gave you a little taste of what is in Italy, but as well as prepared you during this Holy Week to celebrate Easter. It's about a Savior who endured all for love and who invites us, each one of us, into a new life, no matter how broken our past. In recovery, we learn to walk out of shame and into grace. As the big book says, we were reborn. And as the Bible says, we were born again. Holy Week reminds us resurrection is real, and it's for all of us. As people of faith, we are a resurrection people. And may you experience all the joys that comes from knowing a risen Savior and being part of the people who understand and embrace all the significance of resurrection. And many of us who've experienced the same from our addiction to sobriety. Thanks so much for coming to Studio RC in this special edition and this special podcast. I hope that it blessed you And we do encourage you, share, like, comment. This might be a perfect one to share with a friend. Maybe even share with someone who's not in recovery. This wasn't so recovery focused that maybe we can just, again, share it with others. And it's also that we can help expand the amount of people that we can encourage and help in their recovery and in their faith. So thanks so much for coming to Studio RC. And remember, Recovery Church, 12 steps, one goal. God bless. We'll see you next time, and have a great Holy Week and Easter Sunday. God bless.
Going.